Hey everybody, and welcome back to Beer Bubbles, the number one bubbliest podcast in the world. Me and my wife recently got back from our vacation to Nice, France. But me, being the dumb beer geek that I am, I couldn't go an entire week without doing something beer related. So after researching breweries, I stumbled upon Blue Coast Brewing Company, who happens to have a head brewer whose name is Robert Busch. This episode will be in two segments. We did a short interview at the brewery, and then a few days later, we met up for a pint and recorded a bit more. I do hope you'll enjoy our chit chat, but before we get started, don't forget to check out our Patreon, social medias, leave a like, comment, all that good stuff. Enjoy. Hello and welcome back to Beer Bubbles. I'm sitting in Nice, France. Completely random, but I'm here at Blue Coast Brewing Company with Robert.
Yes, correcto mundo. That's me.
Why don't you introduce yourself and how who you are and how you ended up here in Blue Coast Brewing Company?
I've been brewing beer since a very long time. As a home brewer in the beginning, in 94 I think I started. And then I won the national championships in home brewing in 96. And after this, I was hired by Tärnö, which became Nils Oskar. And then from there to Grebbestad Bryggeri for several years. Then I went to Bangkok for a while to do something else, audio engineering. And then back when I was back on holiday in Sweden, I worked for a while at Eskilstuna Ölkultur. And Eskilstuna is my hometown, so that's where I come from. And then I got a message from a guy in Sweden, Pelle Strid, and he asked me if I was interested in a brewing project in Nice, France, where we are now. And it sounded very interesting because I was already on my way to London, but Brexit happened, so I couldn't work there easily. And apparently the guys from Blue Coast they contacted Pelle and asked him to find a brewer. So that's how I ended up here. So I started here in 2017 in February with an empty space of 800 square meters. We bought a 5 hectoliter brew house with 6 fermenters, 3 10s and 3 5s. And then a year later we upgraded to 25 hectoliters and several more fermenters. We have 25 hectoliter, 50 hectoliter fermenters and 75. And now I'm brewing on a almost fully automated system. It's you have to do some confirmations of some things, but I can control it from an app, also from home, so I can start at 4 in the morning and have my morning coffee and then come here at 7 and half of the mash is done already, and then I can boil the first batch and then mash in the second one while the first one is in the whirlpool. And then
Is it still manual cleaning or is it automatic as well?
No, that's automatic. So
Nice.
I have a CIP program that I can start, and it takes about 4 hours. I don't do it after each brew, of course, but every 5-6 brews maybe. But the tanks is manual. The cleaning of the tanks, that's manual.
Yeah. The beer styles you focus on are mostly pale ales, lagers, wheat beers?
Yes, let's try. I took 2 random beers from the fridge here. This is one of the latest ones. We have some of our owners are Formula 1 drivers. We have Daniel Ricciardo, David Coulthard, and Jenson Button. And now they all have their own beers. It started with Daniel Ricciardo's. I made a lager for him. And then Jensen, he wanted one too. So I made a session IPA for that. And then only like 2-3 months ago, this pale ale for David Coulthard. which is very light. This is only
Very
3%.
very
So-
crisp and light, yeah, but
Yep.
also kind of malty as well.
Yes, and this is one of the few beers that I don't use USO5 yeast. Most of the beers I make, I use USO5, the fermentis yeast. Of course, in the lager, I have the lager yeast, but this one is English ale yeast, and also English hops, English malt. So when I tried this from the fermenter before I cold crashed it, it was like 15 degrees or something, and it wasn't very carbonated. So when I tried it from the tank, I was like, "Oh wow, this takes me back to a pub in London," because it was warm, British room temperature, 15 degrees, and also low in CO2. So,
But also in the sense that it doesn't have that super bitter hoppiness.
no, exactly. It's
with
not
American style, more
no.
the British, more on the sweeter side, so to speak, the
Yeah, yeah.
malt sweetness.
And this Napa, people usually like their Napas hazy, or at least some of the people. This one isn't that hazy. It's yeah. So it's an IPA, but with less bitterness and a lot more dry hop. I use a hop gun, and for a 50 hectoliter batch, that's 225s. I have to brew it twice. I use 40 kilos of hops in the hop gun and circulate it for maybe 8 hours, a full day, to extract as much as possible.
Both are very perfect for this weather as well. It's easy drink and, goes down really
Good.
easy.
Yeah.
How is the difference between working and brewing in Sweden and working here now in Nice, France, with the craft beer scene and everything?
I don't know if I can say this, but I think Swedes work harder. It's not so many coffee breaks and not so much talking in Sweden. I come here, I start working, and I work until the job is done, and then I go home. I don't hang around so much and talk to other people of the staff. But also it also depends what kind of brewery you work in. If you have home brewers that started the brewery, it's a totally different thing, because everyone is interested in beer and talk beer constantly. And whereas if you work in a company where you have only a few people are interested in beer, and so it's a big difference depending on what company you're in. But in general, I think since I came here in 2017, I think it was like 2 or 3 breweries around. Since I came here, in the beginning, I had to take down the bitterness in the IPA because it was too bitter for the French market. And now I think it's more accepted. Now people want IPA more and more.
Has the craft beer scene come slower here, you think?
Oh yes, it's like 10 years behind, I think.
Yeah. It's I've been around to a few stores now and looking, and I mean, you have the regular Leffe and some Grimbergen, and Heineken, but there's not a lot of craft beers in most stores.
You have some specialty shops around this that imports. I've seen Oppigårds, I've seen some other Swedish beers as well. But it's coming slowly. So, and also it's a small market for the beer geek market. I mean, you have to sell in supermarkets too to create volumes. And the beer geeks are unfaithful. They just drink your beer once, and then they go to the next brewery and try something. So you have to make something new all the time.
Yeah, what we call them, the clickers on tap. They just want to click the next beer. We had a lot of those customers who come in and they try 8 or 9 different IPAs in one night, and they come up to the bar again and like, oh, what else do you have? Jesus Christ! What did you like? Some of them? Yes, drink one more. That's how you do it. Like if you like a beer, keep drinking it. It's not that difficult.
I'm like that with wine. I seldom drink the same wine twice. I try to tick off new appellations and especially now when I'm close to Italy too. I go to Italy and with my Dramaten and I fill it up with wine and always try something new. So
Yeah, but we are in wine country, and wine country is all around us. And that's probably why the beer scene hasn't exploded in the craft scene as much because of that. Because people drink wine mostly, I guess.
Yes. And to France's defense, I think also I should mention that it's different regions are more developed when it comes to beer. Closer to Paris, Lille, and northern France, they are much more into Lyon, Montpellier. These places, they are much more into craft beer. So it's coming here too, but slowly, because this has been traditionally a rosé wine region. In April, they fill up the shelves in the supermarkets, and it's like meters with rosé wine, and
Oh, that's nice. Do you have a bar here as well? People come in and visit. I'll see it right now. So
yes, we have a tap room, and we're open every day from 12, so you can come and have a pint or two, and then we run several events. We have beer pong sometimes, and beer and yoga and stuff, and football matches which are on a big screen. So when something is happening, it's we try to cover it.
Well, that's nice. And is there any future plans for the brewery? We talked a little bit earlier about the getting a storage area and stuff like that.
Yeah, we lack space definitely, because it's difficult to find buildings here to store your finished products, and we have a cold room, so we store most of it there, but cardboard boxes and empty kegs and stuff like this, it takes space, so we should definitely find something in the future.
Definitely. Well, it seems to be like I don't know if that is the case, but a little bit more industrial part of
yes,
Nice
definitely
around here.
This building that you can see over here, it was nothing here before. It was an old shack, totally worn down. So they just finished this like a month ago.
Okay.
So they put this olive tree there yesterday. So it's going to be a lot more people working here, and hopefully they come to our tap room.
The area is expanding a little bit.
Yes,
and
nice. When I came here in 2017, there was only one tram line 1, and they already started the building of line 2, which goes to the airport, and then in the morning I can take that one to Grand Arenas is the name of where I changed to line 3, which they also built 2 years ago. So now I can go by tram all the way to Saint Isidore, where we are now, and then I have to walk the last bit.
Oh, what is it, like a kilometer?
Oh yeah, something like this. Yep.
So going here by car was a bit interesting.
All
the turns and going up and down the mountain to get here. It's nice.
I have one of the first thing I bought was a Vespa. So I have a Vespa. I use this to come to the brewery when I don't take the tram. It's nice to sit on the tram to listen to music also on my iPod. And,
those scooters are everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems dangerous. They drive like crazy here in the city. They don't hesitate to put the gas up. Well, I'm gonna keep this interview short. It was just nice to come visit and see the brewery and meet a fellow Swede here in Nice.
Yes.
Though
I'm
there's
glad you came.
A lot of Swedes in here.
Yes, actually, it's one of the founders is also Swedish Italian, and some of the board members have Swedish connections too. So yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna end it with the question we always ask, which is actually the hardest question you're gonna get, and that is
my favorite beer.
You're gonna die right now. What's the last beer you're having?
Okay. Yeah, that's a hard one. I can easily answer if I had to drink only one beer, not one brand, but one type of beer for the rest of my life. If I was on a desert island or something, it would definitely be German Pils. But as the last beer, I don't know, maybe Rodenbach.
Rodenbach,
Yeah,
good choice.
That's nice.
Some vintage or Alexander or
yeah, no,
or
the regular one. Alexander is nice
Alexander,
too, but or the one you have on your hat.
Oh,
Schlenkerla.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah. Oh, I make a Chipotle beer too, and it's
Chipotle beer.
Yeah, you can try it after. And the amount of chipotle in this is not enough to get the smokiness, so I also add some smoked malt. So it's smoky and very, very little. You can feel the chilies in your throat, but not. I also had to keep this down because this is not Chile land. It's spicy food here is not so common. So
No, it's a lot of seafood and salads.
and like I told you before, I grow chilies on my balcony, so I have like 35 different varieties and on a 10 square meter balcony.
So you like chili?
Yeah, I like chili a lot, and I used it in this beer too. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yep. Thank you, and cheers.
Cheers. All right, part 2 with Robert from Blue Coast Brewing Company.
Yes, hello.
Since I'm here in Nice for quite a while, I thought that why not do another one?
Yes.
So we're sitting at Wayne's.
Yes, Wayne's Bar in Old Town of Nice. This is a British speaking, or English speaking pub. So I usually come here to watch football Saturdays.
Nice. So not Wayne's Coffee for those of you who are in Sweden listening.
No,
So
exactly. No.
and drinking Pelfort, I think it was called, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Nice lager. So I want to go back to more history about you and your beginnings in the brew world. So how did it come you started to brew beer in the beginning?
I don't know what I told you last time. I have to make sure I'm saying the same thing now, so
Doesn't
I'm not
matter.
lying because no, I'm joking. No, it started by me seeing some guy won. It was Palle, Patrik. He won the homebrewing competition, the Svenska Hembryggareföreningens SM. 93, I think it was. So in 94, I tried to brew something else than the regular extract brews that I had tried already. I brewed a lot of kits, and then I tried to make something real with all grain. And then I sent this to the competition in 95. It was in Stockholm, and it was a plain Pils, it was called, regular German Pils. And I won the gold medal in the lager section.
Your first try.
Yeah. And then the year after it was the Scooter Bitter. I bought a Vespa the same week, so I called it Scooter Bitter when I brewed it. And it was a regular bitter, like a very, very low carbonation, and British hops, British malts, and British yeast. Tasted just like when you're in a pub in England. And this one won the Best in Show, or the Årets Hembryggare, or in 96 in Hultsfred.
That's a difficult style to make, though. I feel like from the perspective of me as a consumer, I've had a lot of different kinds of bitters, but when it's not from England, not all of them are up to the top.
No, I can agree. It's and I think it has to do with the fact that it's transported. It has to be very fresh. real ale is one thing. When you get real ale,
Yeah.
it's very difficult outside England, I think, or no, not England, but UK. And
I mean, we do have a real ale at Akkurat.
Yeah.
We work with that quite a lot, and we have the cask mark as well.
Yeah.
So we take care of our cask very much. And you also have some breweries in Sweden that can really make cask nowadays. Sadly, one of the absolute best retired recently, Bengt from Skebo. So that's very sad. Still, I still have people asking for his beers, and you're like, no, he's retired. But yeah, it's starting to become a little bit more popular with breweries making their own cask ales. But with when they do bitters just on keg or an ESB, for example, it's still not there yet for most breweries, I feel. Some do it fantastic. I mean, it's like Uppsala Brygghus. They have their Surf Fog a lot.
Yeah.
It's a British bitter. Well, Connor is Irish, so of
Yeah,
course it's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
But is there something about brewing that type of beer that is you need to do the English hops, or is it?
I think so, because I just recently, I don't know if you, it's one of the beers that you tried at the brewery. It was bottled when you tried it, but I think I told you that because I brewed now in the company I work for, Blue Coast, we have 3 Formula One owners, or owners that shareholders. That one of them has retired recently, Daniel Ricciardo. I made a beer for him, a lager. And then Jenson Button, he's not driving Formula One anymore, but I think he's doing Formula 2 or 3 or something. And so I made a beer for him, a session IPA. And then recently, David Coulthard, also retired driver. And the last one, the Coulthard beer, was I used British hops, British yeast, British malt. And when I tried it from the tank, when it was 15 degrees and low carbonation, it was way before it was finished. So at that stage, it was very, very close to what you get in England or in a pub in UK.
Well, getting your beer gravity pulled, it's a totally different beer to when you bottle it, because with the carbon oxide going in and
exactly.
all and it's
we don't want it too bubbly.
No.
And also the low alcohol is. I remember when I was little, I always imagined all the beers outside Sweden being very, very strong. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to go to England and drink strong beer. But then I realized it's the other way around. It's like 3.2, 3.5, 3.8, and so this one I brewed for Coulthard is I think it's 3, but the real alcohol is 3.2. It says 3 on the label.
Well, it's I've been to Scotland only, Sally. I need to go to the islands a bit more, but going around drinking cask ales the entire day is a trip itself, because
absolutely
you can drink so much because there's no alcohol basically. There has been some cases where we have cask ales that are up to 8-9%. For example, the Valsviken Winter Porter from Ninus, I think it was, on cask. We had it vintaged 1 year, so we saved it for 1 year and opened it apparently.
Okay.
Amazing. And then the Black Golding from Närke Kulturbryggeri on cask is also amazing, and that's on 7 or 8%, I think. It's super dangerous because it's so easy, like quenchable, but strong. So they are quite dangerous. Now you began in the home brewing scene before you started brewing commercial, but you're also a beer judge.
Yes, I think I took the exam in '97, and it was again Patrick, me and him. We took the exam at the same time in Jessica Heidrich and Peter Högström's home, if I remember correctly. I think it was that. And after this, I judged a few competitions in Sweden, but now it's because I haven't lived in Sweden for so long. So now it's been every year here in Nice. They have a homebrewing competition, and one year also Brewdog had their homebrewing competition. But it's very basic. It's I told you before I came with the beer judge certificate program, the paper, the judge sheet, the score sheet, and no one wanted to use it. I was too serious.
Was it good, bad, or tropical? Or
Oh yeah. This beer is good. This beer is bad. No, it was, and the first time I think we had 11 beers to judge, and 2-3 of them were really good, highly hopped, and unusual for this region at that time. This was 6 years ago. And now it's better and better. So the last competition I judged was I was surprised. It was many good beers, sours and very tropical IPAs and clean above all. Before it was a lot of funky flavors and aromas. So
well, how has that knowledge of beer judging mirrored into brewing, or have it had an effect on what type of beers you make, or the
you mean for me?
Yeah. For
oh
you.
yes. Because I'm very strict when I create a new recipe for Blue Coast. I always try to follow the beer judge certificate program standards and stay within the specifications. But in real time, or in reality, when I brew it, it's a different thing, because you have to adapt to the market, and maybe sometimes I'm thinking like, okay, I'm brewing this and this. It depends on what the sales guys want, basically. So you have to be, maybe they don't want it as strong in alcohol, but the rest is within the style. So I try to follow it, but it's not always possible.
Well, one thing that I noticed, and we talked a little bit about this when I was up at the brewery, is the French down here don't want it as bitter.
Yeah.
And yesterday I tried, I think it was 2 or 3 different IPAs, which were supposed to be West Coast style, high bitterness. They were West Coast style, more on the tropical side, but not as bitter. So I even had a triple IPA at 9.7%.
Yeah.
But the bitterness was so low.
Oh yeah.
It's I'm not used to that. Like if I get a triple West Coast IPA, I expect like the highest of bitterness.
Exactly. You expect the bitterness to stay in your mouth for an hour after.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
no, that's not the case here. It's I've had many experiences this. You see double IPA or triple IPA, and you expect like 100 IBU or something, and then it's like 40 or 30 or
and it's just okay, this is fruity. Like what the hell? Like a fruity West Coast IPA still has that. Still had it the dryness and all the flavors you want, but not the bitterness. Like the bitterness is missing. I feel like, but I'm Swedish, so and I live in Sweden, so I drink a lot of IPAs in that sense with the West Coast with the bitterness.
Yeah, so you just want more and more. You adapt easily. Is there like has it become a new favorite for you to drink those kinds of beer, or do you still enjoy the bitter types of IPAs? No, I like so many things. It depends on the occasion when I want to drink something. It's I usually don't drink as an everyday beers. It's mostly okay. It's easy for me to access our beers, the ones that I make, of course. So with food, it's or just to sit on the balcony and have a beer. It can be anything, but with food, I usually take the blonde or a wheat beer or something more basic.
Now, speaking of the beer styles you drink and sitting on your balcony enjoying your evening with a beer, you're also quite I wouldn't say I would say wine nerd. You love wine.
Yes, I'm a wino.
Yeah, you're a wine now.
Yes, because I told you this story already off microphone before, but in 2000, 2001, sometime around that, I was approached by a guy in Göteborg. He wanted me to do the beer part of his sommelier. He was a teacher, so he was teaching becoming sommeliers. And he didn't know anything about beer, so I said, okay, I'll do the beer part, and but I want to take the course instead of him paying me. So it was 10 weeks at Ronnums herrgård, Vargön, outside Vänersborg. And every weekend it was a different topic and different wines. 1 week was whiskey, another one was coffee, cigars, and stuff like this you need to know as a sommelier, and beer. So I ran the beer part. And then the second semester was in Göteborg, Burgårdsgymnasiet. So I took the course for the second part too, and this was WSET, the same one you took. And then so this was a long time ago, 2000, 2001. And then during lockdown, I was at home for 3 months. We were allowed to go out 1 hour per day to go to the shop, and my girlfriend, she took the first wine course, the same one I took like way back.
But online.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And then and this was Grythyttan. And then I'm like, okay, I want to go for level 3 too, Grythyttan. So I took that one too, and I passed with distinction. Important. So after this, all my notes, I also told you I wrote a Bangkok guide because I had a lot of notes from different parts in Bangkok.
I was going to go into the author part very soon.
And it was the same with the wine. I had millions of notes because every time I try something, put 2 olive oils in front of me and I will judge them and try them against each other, and or whatever you want to try. It's in Bangkok they have many seasons with different mangoes growing during the seasons. I tried all of these and compared, took notes. The energy drinks like Red Bull, they make a lot of this in Thailand. So I tried like 16 different brands at the same time, compared them, ranked them. Of course, that's some kind of thing I have. I must rank it and put it in a database. And
yeah, because you're writing a wine book right now.
Exactly. Yeah, it took a long time because I started way back, and since I came here, of course, in France, new regions, new appellations, and even though I don't go around in France as much, but I still find, because twice a year there is a big wine fair in the neighboring village here, Cagnes-sur-Mer.
Was that the one you told me about?
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is great. You can go there and try all the wines from all over France, and some wine from other countries too. But it's not very common because in France they sell French wine. So the shelves in the wine shops or in the supermarkets, they have one section, maybe half a meter wide, with beer from other countries. But that's like one from California, Gallo or something. But I'm also close to Italy here. So I go to Italy with my Dramaten pensioner bag on wheels, and I fill it up with Italian wine. So I discovered a lot of small Italian appellations as well. So the book is a never-ending thing. No, I'm going to put a deadline on it now again, and then I'll make a second edition or something. And this is not something I make as for other people. It's for myself, because I call it the Roberts Vinbok, because I want a place where I can go back and see what I've tried, what regions I like, and maybe someone else can use it too, because it's I'm also very I try to find fyndvin.
Yeah.
No, it's
But that's the
the
thing.
price ratio. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I love Bourgogne or I love Champagne, but it's
That's the thing when you started to become a sommelier. It's not about the most expensive wines.
exactly.
It's about getting the knowledge to find the quality,
Yeah,
no matter the price range. When you
Exactly.
find quality, it's fucking quality.
yeah,
It doesn't have to do anything with the price range. The most expensive wine is the best.
no,
No, not at all. Like,
no.
you can find
I
a wine for €5 that is fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
Like,
and I see some wine writers. They are afraid to give high points to cheap wine, which is bullshit.
it's
I
bullshit.
mean,
yeah.
you can find a wine for €5 and it's fantastic. It
Exactly,
could be
yeah.
Vino d'Italia or not even an appellation, and it's because it's not well known, and like champagne, a lot of champagne is shit, but it's they have the name, so they can take a lot of money for this.
Sorry, CC, but I'm not the only one who has this opinion. So we're gonna argue about this when I come back to Sweden. As I told you the other day that we had this argument, me and CC, that I feel like Cremant is often much better
Absolutely,
than champagne, and yeah.
Yeah.
So we're I know we're a beer podcast. We're going to a little bit about the wine, but it's because of I feel you are a man of many trades. Like you brew the beer, but you also write the books, and you have this big interest in flavors, and so it's fun to talk about. I actually got one of his books, which is not about drinks, but it's gonna be fun to read.
Yeah. Short stories.
Short stories, yeah. It's gonna be really fun to read. Is there any plans to do a beer book?
Not really. I think that would be more demanding, less demanding, because I want to learn something from learning during the process. So, because I learn something when I write, I have to look up things, and if I write a beer book, I would just write from my head, and maybe I make mistakes because I think I remember this, and it's very odd with the when I do brewery tours or tastings or whatever. I can have a question that I didn't know that I was able to answer. They ask me something and I answer, and then I'm thinking, how the fuck did I know this? But it's somewhere in my head. I've read it somewhere way back. No, I want the challenge too, and I don't want when I write the wine book, I'm not like copying Wikipedia or anything. It's not like that. But I want to double check everything, and it can take an hour if I find a new grape in a special wine, and I read about this grape. I want to read about the soil where it's growing best, and so you get more. I learn more from this.
Yeah, but it's like we talked about the other day, the terroir, and it applies as much as to grape as it does to hops. It's different wherever it's grown, and
yeah, definitely.
We talked about the difference between being able to do anything and like doing the bio, and it's quite different because you can't get some hops, and the hops you get might be grown somewhere else, so it changes the recipe completely.
Yes. Blue Coast, where I work, turned in France it's called bio, eco in Swedish, organic. So all the beers I make now are organic, and I had like let's say 250 different hop varieties to choose from, and when I had to go bio, I have 25 maybe, because it's not every hop is grown organically. So it's difficult with this, but also you have to substitute sometimes from. I couldn't buy Cascade from. At one point, I couldn't find it from Yakima Chief, which was my original source. So I had to buy Cascade from Germany, from another company. It's still Cascade, but it's grown in Germany, and that's different, of course. So yeah, totally agree.
Turning this to one of my last questions, keeping the hygiene in restaurants and in breweries. Now I'm talking basically all over the world, or in the industry as beer bartenders or beer bars and stuff like that. How do you have any idea of how we can move forward in educating people, in educating staff that it is important? Because I feel there are some bars that take it seriously. A lot of brewers are taking it seriously, at least in Sweden. But there's still so many bars that don't care.
No, exactly.
And they don't understand that this is an infection. This is a bacteria that's in your beer. And I am a firm believer that it's not good for your stomach. Like, it's not good for you to drink this bacteria, because it messes up your stomach the day after. Like, I've had, it's only hypothesis. Fuck, say that. You know what I mean. Hypothesis that some people have told me that days they drink at where I work, they're not as bad in the stomach as the day after they drink at a place that has really infectious taps. And they know that because I've told them, like, this smell is not okay. This smell is not good. It messes up your beer. It's a bacteria. And I try to talk about it a lot. But I feel like there's this kind of nonchalance, like they don't care. Like it's it's supposed to taste like that. Who has the time? Who has the? How do we turn that around?
I think not that I mean that working in a bar is a bad job, but I mean it's easier for young people to get a job in a bar, McDonald's, whatever. That's an introduction to work. Some people stay all their lives in this environment.
But just like me.
Yeah. And then you become serious when you get older and you have the know-how after a few years. But if you have staff that are like new and you need to teach them from day one about everything and let them try, maybe buy a kit with the off flavors and let them try what can happen if you don't clean the taps and
it's in my opinion, if you call yourself a beer bar, that's one of the minimums you have to follow, is to to take care of your bottles, to take care of your tap lines, to take care of the kegs, and actually to talk to breweries when something isn't optimal. Like we have this thing, we don't have those what do you call it in English, regulation lines with the taps. So we have the beers, if something is overcarbonated, we'll notice it right away, and then we can't serve it because we feel like that is a step towards quality, that it should be perfectly served. And then it's up to us, like you talked about before, it's how you store the beer. Of course, us as a bar, we have to keep it cool. We have to keep it in a fridge room. We have to take care of the beer. So if you keep it, as you said, behind a fridge, and it becomes warm, then of course it's gonna foam. Like the foam is gonna destroy it, of course. So it's both ways, like how you communicate and do all that.
And I think as a brewer, it's an insult to me if the bar serves my beer badly, and it's people are going to say, "Oh, it's a bad brewer." They don't always accuse the bar, or they think the beer is shit from the beginning.
The other day, if you don't clean your tap lines, you might as well go piss at the brewery.
Exactly.
And I think that's an important thing. I think that's the next step in the beer bar evolution, because we have so many good brewers in the world now. A lot of good brewers. The interest is at an all-time high, the bars have to start serving it correctly as well and taking care of it, because I mean, I really don't care when it comes to the macro stuff, because they own their own bars and you know, with the loans and everything, especially in Sweden. But when it comes to the places that has at least an interest to having a beer bar, it's very important that they start to move to that direction, and we all do, and keeping it consistent, not once in a while or something like that. And I think that's all down to education. It's all down to the interest and knowledge.
And also, as a customer, you have to be not all customers are aware, of course. I mean, it's different if you have a brewer come into a bar and order a beer and it's sour. Of course, the brewer is going to tell them. It actually happened here. I told you before we started this interview. It actually happened to me in this very bar. That I was the first customer, I think, or one of the first, because it was an early Chelsea game at 1 o'clock Saturday, and the beer was sour, just a plain lager, but they hadn't cleaned the tap from the night before, and it goes very quickly. It turns bad quickly. So, and I told them this, and at first they went, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with the beer." And then I said, "Okay, but smell this and taste it." And then they tried it, and they agreed, and they said, "Yeah, okay, sorry, it's sour. We need to clean the taps."
It's a different kind of system, I think. Yeah, it's we have those systems installed at Akkurat where the beer is cooled all the way till the tap. It's cooled all the way. So if you don't have that type of system where you get the cold beer from the keg, that means the entire line is laying the entire night with warm beer. Then you have to pour that beer out if it's how many beers it is. So we have this. We know how long our tap lines are. So for 30 centiliters beer, we have 5 left. That's 5 beers contained in the tap line. If you have 40 centiliters, that's 4, maybe 5, depending on what type of beer it is. Then we have pints. It's most cases 3. So you know how many beers fits in your tap lines before they come from the keg. So if you don't have the cooling system, you have to pour that out the day after, because
that becomes staff beer.
Yeah, or you cook food with it.
Yeah, exactly.
You cook food
I was joking,
with it.
of course.
Yeah, of course.
Drink sour beer.
But that's
sour you can drink, but
not.
not.
That's another thing. People talk about waste, like, oh, you're wasting when you're cleaning. You're wasting. No, you cook with it. Like, you cook food with it. Like, if you have some onion on the menu, boil your onions in the beer. It's gonna taste fantastic. So you can still use the beer or make bread from it. So you can still use it as a product in your restaurant whilst having clean beer served. I think it's just a matter of seriousness, like a matter of taking care of the place and doing stuff.
Yeah, and like
that.
you said, especially if you are a beer bar, that's your main income to serve good beer. It should be perfect.
Cook food with the beer
notch.
as well.
Yeah,
do everything.
Yeah.
Well, this was a fantastic addition to the episode, I think.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good. Yeah, I think it's nice.
And also, I already asked you the You're Gonna Die beer question, or do you have any other beer you want to drink before you die?
I think it hasn't been invented yet. It's I remember I think that was the last time I was at the Hembryggar-SM in Linköping, and I was walking around trying so many new beers with Cantarell and I don't know, whatever. It's many people are innovative, and they make new beers all the time, and I think I don't know what's in the pipeline from other breweries or for me either. So we'll see.
Something that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Robert. It was
thank you.
pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Cici will be with us the next one. Don't forget to check out our Patreon, social medias, and whatever you do, drink better beer.